name is Monwar. In this video, I will go through network basics for all four major public cloud vendor, which are AWS, Azure, GCP, and OCI. So first, let me go through with AWS. So if I go through, that the VPC traffic wise. So what is VPC? VPC stands for Virtual Private Cloud. So this is nothing but thing that the network you have got in your on-prem or in your home. So it's virtually, therefore this known as virtual network dedicated, but this is dedicated to your AWS account. It's actually that logically isolated network in AWS cloud. Now VPC, if you look at top level, VPC is a region resource. So under the VPC, by default, there's a default VPC. So it has got public subnet associated with that one. And you can also create private subnet. So what is the difference between public subnet and private subnet? So uh, so what is subnet? Subnet is a range of, or if I say subset of IP address that is defined at the VPC level. So now when we are talking about public subnet is associated with a route table that has a route to an internet gateway that is known as public subnet. So that means it can access to the internet through internet gateway. Now when we're talking about private subnet, so private subnet associated with a route table that does not have any route to this internet gateway. So when I'm saying not have, that means directly does not have any route to the internet gateway. There is other option, I will talk later. So that is known as private subnet. Now there are other kind of subnet like VPC only subnet. So this is like high level, so I'm not going that level. So I'm trying to make which you will see for all the four clouds. So just giving an idea so that you understand. So now next is coming, if you see here, like now if I go to this side diagram, little more detail. So under the subnet, that inside there you create services. When I'm talking about services, that can be C2. So that security group, we need to define that service level. So security groups is kind of firewall. So it's a firewall that is associated with the EC2 instance level. So what is that security group? Security group controls the traffic for the instances inside a subnet. And the benefit of this one, you can limit network traffic to resources, in a virtual network using security group. It mainly contains a list of security rules that allow or deny inbound and outbound network traffic. But it's coming in other things. So I will show you. You will get more clear view or clear understanding when I will connect to the console. And now here what I'm showing, that a security group can be associated multiple times, that you can associate security group here. The same security group you can use other instances. Other thing to be noted here, that security groups are stateful. So there is a term is stateful and stateless. So stateful means when initiate a request, the response traffic for this request is allowed to flow regardless of inbound security groups and vice versa. So what does that mean? That means security groups allow rules only. By default, all rules are implicitly denied. You cannot deny a certain IP address from establishing a connection. So now let's talk about this layer, that NACL or Network Access Control List. So this is another firewall, but this is coming into like at the subnet level. So this is my subnet in that one. This is another subnet. So this is coming on subnet level. So network accounts are stateless. What is stateless means? That means that every packet that passes through here through the resource, that there should be rule for both incoming and outgoing. So like a security group, if we allow some port like port 43 or port 80, we do not need to set rule for outgoing traffic. But for network echo, that is different. We have to put both incoming and outgoing rule. So network echo supports allow and deny rules. Security groups case, if we just allow, ultimately it will works there. Other thing to be noted here that rules are applied in order. When you go through the console, you will get to know that one. Now it's coming here that sometimes when some services are running into private subnet and we may need to update the host, or we need to apply some patches or install some software. So how that means we need to get access to the internet. So what are the options there? Option is we can set up a net gateway inside the public subnet, and this private services which is sitting on private subnet can go through internet via net gateway. So that is the option here. So other option is there that that you can use net instances. There are other things like you see a route table, and it has got route rules. So let me go through the console now to get more understanding on this. So let me connect to the console. So here we have connected to AWS Cloud using my account. So now you can search for VPC is under that network resources. So you can go to under section network, you can get VPC there. VPC. Otherwise, you can search also from here search button. Otherwise, if you recently visited, you can also get that one. So click on VPC. If you go to VPC, you will see that by default, these are the different components, okay? Like your security groups, customer gateway, internet gateway, route table, subnet, VPC, net gateway, and so on, like site-to-site VPN or endpoints. So here I'm focusing mainly all the major, components, if I say. So if you go to VPC, you will see that by default, you will see that there is a VPC for each region. You will get that on any region. You go there, you can see that there is a default VPC in sitting there. Like if I change my region to like Osaka, so you will see that there's a default VPC, and each default VPC has got, if you look down here, let me maximize a little bit. So you will see that it has got underneath like subnet. So these are all subnets, but these subnets is coming, number of subnets is coming based on the availability zone in that region. And subnet is associated with the route table and internet gateway because these are all public subnets. So let me go to like Tokyo region. So I need to refresh that one. I change my region. So VPC. Now you can create a VPC, custom VPC. So in that case, two options there that you can select VPC only or you can select VPC and more. So if you select VPC only, that's kind of more manual way of doing that one. That you can create a VPC, then you create a subnet underneath that. but this is again beginner level, so I prefer to use for VPC and more. So what it does, it's mainly give like VPC a name. So project VPC, so you give a name, some name, so you can give that one like it's getting a name. And now by default it's considering that one, but you can custom that one, you can change that one cider range. Now it's coming. Then like here is that subnet. So subnet is coming based on the availability zones you select. If I select one, then it will be one. Like for one availability zone. If I two, then it will be two. If there are three or four, whatever number of availability zone, you can create that. And for me, I am fine with one, so I select that one availability zone. Then there is a customize aging. You can also select that how many public subnets and how many private subnets you want. So I'm happy with one public and one private, but if I want more I can select that one. Like you said, that for public option is one, but private there is a here from your console, so it will create two private subnets. So for one I am fine. Then it's coming, that net gateway. Do you want any net gateway for now to set that up automatically? Net gateway is mainly, talking like services under private subnet talk to public subnets via net gateway. So you can select that on the what net gateway that you want. If you want, you can select that one. Otherwise, you can put that none and then create others. Then you can create VPC endpoints and other things. So let me just for it's always better, when working in a complex environment, very large environment, there are many subnets, many, think many, then it is better to already use tag. But for now, I'm just ignoring that. Also click on create VPC. So if you click there, you will see that ultimately it's going to create all the things like VPC, DNS hostname, S3, the endpoint, subnet, and associated route table. Everything's doing itself. So now, when that is done, click on View VPC. So here, from VPC, you can see the VPC details and subnet details here, route table, network connection. Other option is you can also check, from here as an example, like you can click uh, your VPC. Now, if you select this one from there, you can also see VPC ID. You can go to VPC ID and you can go to route table or NACL. So let me go to subnet. So here you see the subnet defined there. So subnet is there, your private subnet and public subnet. And now route table. So what is route table actually? Route tables are, if you look here, like if I go to route table, it's mainly, that rules associated with that one. And by default, it has got like that the let me duplicate that one so you know what I'm pointing. By default, it has got the cider range that I have defined for the VPC. So route has got already that, and that means inside there they can communicate each other. So that's the main thing. Other option is here. If you want, you can edit route rule. So you can add more rule based on your requirement. Let me cancel here. Other option that you can as associate subnet. So associate currently, that is, you see that it's associated with the private subnet, but if you want, you can edit subnet association and you can select this one and save association. So it will associate with your uh, subnet that you select. Other thing that we have talked about, that security groups. So if you look into security groups, how that works, like there can be, you can see that security groups, like yeah, as an example, if I go here, these security groups. So security groups has got inbound and outbound rules. So again, that rules is mainly you just giving which type of protocol. So let me edit so that you will get more understanding. So here you giving, that the type of protocol you select, and by default it's gets the port range based on that one, and what is the source and what it will do. So that the rule you place here. So that is security group. Then I have talked about okay. So internet gateway, public subnet, private subnet, security group. I showed you, okay, NACL and net gateway. So if I go to NACL, here is net gateway. NACL is network access control list. So you can see that it has got by default, it create a network access list. You can see that one. There are default inbound and outbound rules. Uh, mm, by default, all traffic is allowed. Now, if you want to add any rule, so you can add here. If you want to add, you can add another rule here. But the thing to remember that it works based on sequence numbers. So first, the rule which will get, if it says first everything's denied, so it is not going forward. So you can put restrictions by order. So if you make other rule to prioritize after creating an inbound rule, give them that low number, then this number to make it working. Other thing I need to go that net gateway, is that net gateway. So you can create a net gateway. So click create net gateway, give a name, and you have to select like gateway will be where, which subnet. So as an example, if I would like to put into public subnet, so I can select public subnet. If I normally we put that into that the public subnet. You go to that diagram. So net gateway is under public subnet, so that I can, like, private server services under private server can talk to outside world through net gateway. So I'm giving that one. Connectivity type is public, and you need to assign and allocate elastic IP. You just click that. So it's there, and then create a net gateway. So I think for basic wise, that is very much it. I mentioned VPC, I mentioned public subnet, private subnet. I defined security group, I defined NACL, and then I defined net gateway. I mentioned router. Okay, let me go through route and router and route table. So I think I have down that one, route table. So if you go in the route table, you can see all those route rules. You can edit route rules based on your requirements. Uh, so these are the main components for networks. And there are other things, but I'll go in future lessons. But for now, I think you have got a good understanding of the components on AWS cloud. Now I'll go through similar um, components if I say on Azure network. So let me connect to Azure network and go through on Azure cloud how basic network works. So on AWS we saw that that is that known as Azure Virtual Private Cloud. On as like Azure, it known as Azure Virtual Network. And AWS, we create that VPC under yeah, what I can say, like you select a region and then we create that one. So it's region specific. But here on Azure, that is coming, the security a what I can say, resource group, under a resource group. So here I'll go through with a virtual Azure virtual network, then how subnet works, and there are security groups, and there is a like a route table and route rule. So let me connect to the Azure account. I have connected to my Azure account. Now here you see that it known as virtual network. So there you cannot select straight to the region that you normally select for AWS cloud. So let's connect to the virtual network and then click on create. So virtual network is like the similar concept, like a VPC on AWS. It's your own network in the cloud. It's a logical isolation of that Azure cloud. It's dedicated to your subscription. So here is that it based on resource group. So you select the resource group and then virtual network, give a name like the it's a virtual network, so I'm giving virtual network 01 and select the region. Here you can select the region and you can also deploy edge zone. For now I'm not going to that edge zone. You can find out based on your location or filter, but I'm going just simply going for virtual network. And then next here is the security. So you can create security like Azure Bastion, Azure Firewall, or DDoS network protection. I'm going to consider the default. Then it's coming IP address. So system is picking up a default IP address, and you can use that one, or if you want, you can just modify here, by an edit button. You can change that one, and you can see the how many IP addresses you're going to get that one. So for now, I'm fine with the default one. At the same time, there is an option that you're going to default is none for all this NAT gateway, network security group, and route table. So I'll create that later, cancel that one here. And then now you see there is no subnet defined. So you can just add a subnet. So click on add a subnet. So what is subnet? Subnet is, like a virtual network can be segmented or divided into one or more subnets. So subnets is kind of logical division on your virtual network. That's the main thing, if you remember. So now here you see that its default is getting value like subnet detail, subnet name. So I just give some name, like ASM01, and you can select the size. So again, here you can see how many addresses is going to get. You can select the size. I am fine with that 256 address, and down below we'll also get the range. And if you'd like to get more information, you can just tooltip and you get more information. Here for subnet also, I'm going to ignore for now, like net gateway, network security group, and route table. So click on add. So if you add that one, you will see that it's creating a default subnet, and also you see the subnet is MTSN01. So I have created a subnet there. Now, next is tag. It is always recommended if you work in a like a bigger environment. There are many subnets. Like any service, the numbers are high. Then it is always better to create a tag. So easy to filter. That's the main reason. So click review and create, and then click on create. It will be few seconds here. So it has been created. Now go to the resource. You can go to the resource from here, and you can see, get those information. You can check also topology, like right now only virtual network. So if you click on So topology is, to give you little more information so that you can see, which subnet where they're like, how they're related or how they're integrated. You can get more information on those. So that is to see good overview. Let's go back here. Now, here is the subnet. You can select subnet to get the subnet information. If you'd like to add another one, you can do by clicking here. You can create also gateway subnet, because this is, more on to give you an overview or top level understanding. So I'm not going, further down on this. So let's go, that another component, which is in, that we know security group on AWS as an example here, that is a network security group. So you can search their network security group. Um, so what is network security group? It's limit the network traffic, to the resources in your subnet, if I say like in your virtual network. So it contains a list of security rules that allow or deny, inbound or outbound network traffic. So let me create a network security group. So always need to, assign the resource group and then give a name. So on the network security group 01, give the region where you want, then mainly next is tag and give and create. So I'm fine with that one. Create. So validation pass and click on create. So my network security group has been created. So let's go to the resource. And if you go to the resource, you can see that here there are few rules already in place. So by default, inbound security rules and outbound security rules. But if you'd like to add or modify, so what you can do, you can just click on inbound select security rules. If I'd like to add, then click on add. So if you go here, you see that you can select your source on IP address or service tag or application security group that you created before. Then you can select the destination where it will go. And after that, if you down here, you see that service. So there are different service like you saw there, it's based on service, port will be selected. Then you can use that one like RDP port, and you can, allow or deny rule here and give the priority because it's, lower the priority. So it will evaluate fast. So therefore you have to give the number, give a description. I'm just cancel here. So, oh, cancel. Okay. Okay. So here, as you see that priority, the name, port, protocol, and destination. So, and these inbound rules and outbound rules. So, by default, as we saw that that the three inbound rules are there, and so that rules deny all like if you see here. So deny for um, all inbound traffic except for the virtual network and Azure load balancer. So because first it's giving allow these two resources and deny for all others. Now if you go to outbound security rule, you also see that there are three outbound security rules. And if you look here, like if you go there, you see that so it's only allow outbound traffic to the where internet and virtual network. So now, if you go here, so we have done that security group, we know subnet, vnet, then let me talk about this parts, that system route and route table, how that actually works. So Azure uses system routes to direct network traffic between let me open that diagram. So Azure uses system routes to direct network traffic between virtual machines, on-premises network, and the internet. So every subnet has that has a few default default routes which you cannot remove. That's the thing, that default rules, system rules is already there, and you cannot remove that one, but you can create a custom route table. So let me go through and create a custom route table. So for that, you search here route route table, and then click on create. Select the resource group. If not there, you can create a new resource group. It will create a new resource group. Then give a name. So I'm just giving the route table 01. Then I'm not giving tag. Default is fine. Review and create. So click on create. So it has been done. Now click on dashboard. You can see that pin to dashboard. You can do that one, but it's mainly for to get into your dashboard through the status of that one. For now, cancel that. But go to resource. Now what I'm going to do, in that route table, I can add route rules. So yeah, to add route rules, you just click that add route and give a name like or 01. Now here is that destination address prefix, so you can select some address. For now I'm just giving IP address and giving something random for now. It's 24. Okay. 0.1.0/24. The next hop that you can select, what will be that one. So you can select like virtual network gateway, and or if you select another IP address, that one. Oh, virtual network, you can use that one. So next hop you can select internet, or so based on your selection, I'm just giving you can select also none, and then click on add. But for now, let me give some value like virtual network gateway and add. So it's going to adding route there to the route table. So successfully added that route. Now you can add this in subnet. So for that, what you can do, you can go to route, and let me go back. Let me go to that will be easier. Okay, and this is route table. Did I add the routes? I think I could save. Yes. Now go to subnet, and you can click here. You see that associate. Click on associate, and when you click that one, here is your option like what thing we want to associate here. Oh no, not from here. I think it should be from here. Let me check. Okay, so I'm on route table. So subnet, and let me check here. Yes, it's there. That's so I'm attaching that with the subnet. So saved route table for that subnet. So my subnet has got that route table associated with that one. I think that's basic, knowledge wise. You can see that we know what is virtual network, Azure virtual network. We know what is subnet, what is security group, then I showed you the system route is default route for each subnet, plus we have created a custom route table and add a route there. So that's the basic concept on networking. There are much more like site to site or express connection, all those things. I'm not going in details for this lesson. It's just basic understanding on network. So we have done AWS and Azure. Next, I will go through similar concept for GCP. So let me connect to my GCP account. Okay, before that, I want to add one thing, connecting that it is always better to, because you are learning, I'm thinking it's mainly for, that all who would like to learn. So always better you can, decommission those if you don't, use them. Not everything charged, like not every service is charged for you, but you will see sometimes some charges there that you did not stop or is running because it's on cloud, everything consumption based. So it is better to delete that one when you are learning. So like here I'm going to deassociate that one first so that I can delete one of them. So deassociate my route table with subnet. Now I can go route and click there. I don't think delete option here, you can delete there, so delete that route table. And always remember, when you are working in cloud, console, where you will see they are changing. Sometimes you will see that maybe option is on your right or left. They can change button more frequently. Yeah, and it's not any specific to any cloud. I worked all four clouds in almost now 4 years. I saw that many times they are just changing all those buttons that you going to work on. So you just check the option around here and there. They can change button, change the options. So now go to subnet and go back go back to virtual network, virtual network, and click here. You see that one? I don't think here, so just click there and delete. On Azure, there is other thing like what you can do if you create, like whenever you create any services, it will ask you to uh, define the resource group or create a new resource group. It's always better if you, when you're learning, create a resource group for your learning purpose, so that if you delete that resource group, then ultimately, like you see here, resource group, if you go there and you can delete that resource group, like when you delete that resource group, it will show you all the components inside that resource group will be deleted. So you can do that way also. So I will advise you, always if you don't use something, please delete those, so that you don't see all on a sudden some charges there. Okay, that's I think that I would like to add here. Now let me connect to Google Cloud and you know tell you or define all those similar things on network purpose. Similar all those network essential components for or on the GCP platform, so which is in Google Cloud Platform. So let me connect to the console. So here I have connected to the console, and if I go to, you see that VPC network, that is under, like you can go to network section, network, and you can get that VPC network. So if you click VPC network, so VPC, they are using the same term like like AWS use by VPC, so virtual private cloud, and it's, as usual, it's a logically isolated network in if I said that it's in Google Cloud. So here you see that by default there is a one default VPC network, and if you select subnet into current project, you will see that it is creating that default network for every region. So it that it is creating for every region. Now, if you'd like to create a new one, so you just click on create a VPC network and give a name like VPC01. Then you can give a description. Then there's an option for like that you want VPC network PLA internal IPv6 range. For now, I'm just ignoring that one or considering the default value. Then there is a subnet option. That subnet is kind of it's a grouping, as I already mentioned that one. So there is that one automatic. If you give the automatic, ultimately it's going to be creating all those for all the region. But here I'm going to create custom one. Then give a value like custom one. Then there is that it is asking for new subnet. So if you expand, you can see that one in case if you want to edit, but add subnets. So I'm going to add a subnet there. So give a name ISM01, give some description, select the region because it's a region resources. So like I can give like US Central, and then there's using that IP stack type. There are two types. One is single stack, which is IPv4, and there is a dual stack. You can get that one in information if you just select one tooltip or question mark. You will get some brief there. So that is for IPv4 and IPv6 range. So here I am fine with that, only in single stack. So give a value like I can give 10.0.1.0/24. You can get a secondary IPv4 range, but for now I'm just happy. I'm fine with that one. And then there's other information there. So default is fine. When you're done, you just click on done. So you can add another subnet. I'm not going that one for now. Now here this is the firewall rule. So firewall rule is kind of the security group that we did on AWS and Azure network security group. So where you put the that the protocol type and protocol port plus the priority. I'm fine with the default value here. Then dynamic routing, it's coming regional and global, and then maximum transmission unit. So because this is basic level and to get understanding all the just major components, that's why I'm not going into details. So here if you click on create, all files are correct. Okay, what I'm missing, new subnet. I have done that one already. So what is wrong here? Custom. Did I add anything? I don't want that one. Clean now. Yes, that is fine. So default one was there, that for us showing that message. It may take few seconds. So here is a successfully created network. So if we refresh the page, we'll get that information. See here, if you go to that VPC, you can get those information here. Now here you see that firewalls. So in that firewalls, you can add firewall rule and give a name, the name you want. Give you can set the priority Then you can put the ingress or egress rule. Then for a specific target, you can select that one, or service account, you can also use that one. And down below here, you can set up which type of protocol you want, TCP or UDP. If then it's coming, just enabling that one. And source filter, you can select all those information here. Other thing that I would like to show you. So firewall is mainly to allow and like deny traffic between resources in the network, and think that communication in between that virtual machine instances. Mm. Now let's go through uh, network gateway. So for that, here it's known as CloudNet. So if you search here CloudNet, you can get that one from here. Otherwise, you can go to uh, down below more products, select that one, and then under integration VPC integration, the network services, here you will see that CloudNet. So and click on CloudNet. So get started. You can go to the screenshot. So that CloudNet is mainly to talking to outside world. Like when you're running something into um, private private subnet, and you need to access like to get some software for patching or some maintenance purpose, you can go through CloudNet. So which we use that net for AWS and for Azure security net gateways. That one is here is CloudNet gateway. So you can give some gateway name like NG01. You can select the cloud router. So that the creator I created VPC, I just give that one. Then select the region, I created that US Central, so you can see that one. Then it's coming cloud router. So this is the router and route table. So you can create separately, but here I can create a new one. So just click create a new router, give a name. Give some description, and then click on create. Then there is a mapping, and you can see that what the mapping you would like to go for. Like there's an option for primary and secondary ranges. Primary ranges are custom, so based on your business requirements you can select that one. And there's a NAT IP address, and you can manually pass, or you can see that recommended is automatic, so I am fine with that one. And click on, there are advanced configuration, you can select all those timeout for protocol connection, but I'm fine with the default. Then click on create. So here you can see that it's showing that that CloudNet has been created. So you can get information more here. And there's a monitoring option. You can monitor this one. Other thing that if you would like to add like about type of routes, if you click on routes, and if you look here this section, in like what GCP does, like there are two types of routes actually. One is system generated routes, and another one is custom routes. So system generated routes give you two other options, like sub options. If I say one is subnet routes, and another one is default routes. So if you look here, like you see that network next hop instance tag, if you look at next hop, network section and next hop, if you see that the default, and here is virtual network, that is subnet routes. So it defines a path for traffic into your VPC. and that's for each subnet. So what it does actually, these applies, that all the endpoints in a VPC network, and whenever you think that another subnet you adding into that VPC, subnet routes are automatically created, so that what it does, it allows that VM can talk with other VM inside that same VPC. That's the main thing here. Now, other route where you see that next up, look here, that this is the routes, but this is default routes in such a way that this is going through default internet gateway. And what it does, it defines that for traffic from your VPC to, it can be Google service or it can be public internet. So it includes here, if you see here, if it includes there, you see that the rule, so that it route to an internet gateway. Okay, so that is the difference, and you can modify that one. So now let's go through cloud router. Other router option is there that I can talk about. Cloud router. So that I created, when I created that cloud net that time. So if I go here and if I like to edit, so you see that there's the option like if you'd like to custom rule, what you can do, you can select that under advertise route section, click on advertise all subnets and visible to cloud router. Otherwise, two options there. So if you select that one, down below there is an option that that advertise all subnets visible to the cloud router. From there you can see which are visible to this this route, and you can save that. And for now I'm just going to cancel. So I think I have showed you all the components, how you can get access, at least basic level. So if I open the diagram, so this part, I'm not going through all the complexity, not complexity. It's a, like if you want to connect to your on-prem to your cloud, there's an option that you can use for virtual VPN or BGP session. So I'm not going that level, but here are what I showed you, that what is cloud VPC here, Google Cloud VPC, then subnet, after that firewall, which is a kind of security group where you allow the rule, or cloud security network security group. Then I mentioned CloudNet, how you can connect to your services into uh, private subnet to the outside world to update softwares. And then I showed you how you can do your route. So let me go back there. So normally I think that is very much it from the basic perspective. Now let me go through last with OCI, and let me connect there or log in there, then start that one. Video lesson, if I say, I will go through network basic components on OCI. So here is that as you know, for other cloud, we already know that there is an internet gateway that can talk to you in outside world, and there is a VCN. Under VCN, we have got subnet, and we know that we saw that there is a security group. Then we saw for AWS security group, for Azure that is network security group, and then um, GCP that is in CloudNet, and all of them has got like a route table, like routes, and then route travel. So here I'm going to show you how you can access those components. So here I've connected to OCI Cloud. Now from your hamburger menu, you can see the network. Click on network and click on virtual cloud network. So let me create an like start. There is two option. Like one is create VCN, another one is wizard. So because in this video I am focusing for the very beginners, or that for them it is better to use start VCN wizard. And from here you can see that what things are coming into picture. Like if this is a VCN, like which is virtual cloud network, you can see that there is a subnet, public subnet and private subnet, and inside there it will create internet gateway, NAT and security gateway, and that connect to that internet. And security gateway is you have got some other services like object storage. Then you can use this that service gateway also there. So click on start VCN wizard. So there is a limit because it's a free account. So I just give a name ABCN03. Select the compartment here. Like for Azure, you select resource group. So similar, like here, you need to select the compartment. So, by when you subscribe to Oracle Cloud, it will give you in a compartment which is actually root compartment. Then you give the BCN range, and it you see that it's picking up from there that a public subnet and private subnet. But if you want, you can modify that one and change that. And there's other like tagging option. If you want, you can do that one also. So with default, I'm fine. Click on next and click create. So this is ready. Here you can see that your BCN is ready. So if you go here, networking, BCN, underneath BCN, you can see that resources. Under resources section, you can see the subnet. So you can get the details of private subnet or public subnet. And if you go to subnet, you will see that it's already attached to a default route table. So where you can add more route rules and define the target type like DRG or internet gateway or local peering gateway. In future, I have a plan to set that up. Set that up, or it's few more videos on how you can do local peering gateway and or internet gateway or remote peering gateway, all those for all four clouds. Mm. But for now, I'm just showing you what the options there. So click cancel. Now, if I go back to BCN, then you will see that there is internet gateway. So you can use that this is the one gateway, but if you want, you can terminate, or you can move resources, or you can associate a route table with this internet gateway. And here is another option that you can create and define your rule and route table with this one. You cancel. Other option is there like network security group. So you can click a security group like Studio 01, show endpoints option. You can click on this tag, which is better option. Now here you see that all the security group we put all which type of protocol we want. So like SSH, and you can give the source port range and destination port range. And when you ready, like happy with your settings, you can just select and create. source type cider, give an IP address. So I'm just canceling that one for now. So you can set that up. Other option is net gateway. So you can create a net gateway, to access like your services, like computer VM that you're running into your private subnet. You can access by setting that up net gateway into your private subnet. So click on cancel. So there are so far I have done all this for major cloud vendors, that network basics. But yeah, there are other things that like internet, different types of gateway to communicate, like internet gateway or net gateway or service gateway. Also there is a dynamic routing gateway, peering gateway, local peering or region peering or remote peering. So there are many other options which that's little bit more in depth. So at this stage I'm not going through all those, but in future, yes, I will do some lessons on that, so that you can get a good understanding. It is better to know all those basic information, like how you can set that up, as a beginner level, what to look. uh, so mainly those things, because there is also other things like in network, like load balancer, to set up load balancer, then access to like on-premise network, how you can do that one, like site-to-site VPN connection. When I'm talking about that one, there is also direct connect option for all those major cloud vendors. They are providing the options there. There is a interconnect option, so that you can talk one cloud, some services from one cloud and other services to other cloud, and integrate them by using interconnect. So there are so many things inside there, but for now here I try to cover mainly that virtual cloud network, or VPC, if I say virtual private cloud, underneath that subnet, then route rules or internet gateway or net gateway, and security group. I hope that you got a very good understanding, for all these four major cloud vendors, how to check, at least basic configuration for networking perspective. So if you like this one, please subscribe to my channel and share this one. It would be great. Thank you. Thanks for watching.